What would you do if the person you promised your life to was secretly planning your funeral? The night everything broke was a Tuesday under the cold, sterile glow of my laptop screen at 2 a.m. I wasn't looking for anything, I swear. I was just trying to find a misplaced tax document in our shared cloud drive. But there it was, a file I didn't recognize, tucked away in a folder she must have thought I'd never open. The title was simple, For the Kids. My heart hammered against my ribs. Inside wasn't a will or a collection of family photos. It was a letter. A goodbye letter from my wife Sarah to our children, explaining that their father had tragically taken his own life. She wrote about my hidden struggles, my silent depression, painting a picture of a man I didn't recognize. And as I read her carefully crafted lies, my phone buzzed on the desk a notification from our bank. A life insurance policy I never knew existed had just been approved. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, Sarah was my world. We met in Chicago, 2 kids fresh out of college trying to make sense of the city's beautiful chaos. Our first apartment was a shoebox overlooking a noisy stretch of Clark Street, but it was ours. We built a life, brick by brick. 2 beautiful children, a house in a quiet suburb, the whole American dream. I thought we were happy. I thought our foundation was solid rock. Now I saw it was just sand and the tide was coming in. The strange behavior started subtly. Late nights she blamed on work dinners at restaurants I knew closed hours earlier. Phone calls she'd take in the garage, her voice a hushed whisper. She started dressing differently, a little more expensive. When I'd ask, she'd just smile that dazzling, empty smile and say, "Don't I deserve nice things?" She became a stranger in our own home, cold and distant. She'd look at me, not with love, but with a chilling kind of calculation, as if I were a problem she was trying to solve. The discovery was a slow, agonizing bleed. Receipt from the Langham Hotel tucked into her gym bag when she was supposed to be at her sister S. Then the text messages. Saw his name, Mark, flash on her locked screen one night as she slept. My hands shook as I used her fingerprint to unlock it. It was all there. A fire hose of filth and betrayal, explicit photos, promises of a future together, and cruel, mocking jokes about me. They called me the warden. They laughed about how oblivious I was. Humiliation washed over me, hot and suffocating. I felt like a fool in my own life's movie. They felt untouchable, wrapped in their bubble of arrogance and deceit. One text from her stood out, "Just be patient. The warden will be gone soon. Then it's all ours." That's when the letter in the cloud drive made a terrifying kind of sense. This wasn't just an affair. This was a plot. My breakdown wasn't loud. It was a quiet internal collapse. I sat in my car in a desolate parking garage off Wacker Drive for 3 hours, the city's pulse a distant thrum, just rereading their words until the screen blurred through my tears. The man who walked out of that garage was not the same one who walked in. The loyalty was gone, burned to ash. The heartbreak was still there, but it was hardening, crystallizing into something sharp and cold. A plan began to form. My grief turned into fuel. My pain became my armor. If they wanted to destroy me, they'd have to be smarter. And they weren't. I started gathering proof. I became a ghost in my own life, a silent observer. I bought a high-end voice-activated recorder and left it under the passenger seat of her car. The recordings were devastating. I heard them planning their future, spending my money. I heard Mark, a smug real estate developer, coaching her on how to act sad when I was gone. "Tears, Sarah, lots of tears. People need to see you're the grieving widow." I hired a private investigator, a grizzled ex-cop who'd seen it all. He delivered a thick manila envelope filled with glossy photos of them kissing outside a restaurant in the West Loop, checking into the Langham, holding hands like teenagers. I opened a new bank account and began methodically moving my savings. I contacted a bulldog of a divorce attorney my pie recommended, a woman named Ms. Albright. I laid everything on her desk. The letter, the texts, the photos, the recordings. Her expression went from professional sympathy to cold fury. "Mr. Davies," she said, her voice like ice, "we are going to bury them." The trap was set. The final piece was our 10th anniversary party. Sarah, ever the performer, insisted on it. A huge catered affair at our home for all our friends and family. It was her victory lap. The night she would cement her image as the loving, devoted wife, just before she became the grieving widow. She was radiant, floating through the party in a new dress, laughing with our friends, her hand possessively on my arm. Mark was there too, introduced as a new friend from the gym. He had the nerve to shake my hand. Smug, pitying look in his eyes. He thought he had one. They both did. The room quieted. I saw Sarah beaming, squeezing my hand. "Thank you all for coming," I began, my voice steady. 10 years. It's a long time. A lot can happen. I looked directly at her. People can change. They can hide things. They can plan things. Her smile faltered. A flicker of confusion crossed her face. "For our anniversary," I continued, my voice dropping, "I wanted to share something special. Story. It's a story about a man, a wife, and a secret." I nodded to a screen we'd set up for a photo slideshow. But it wasn't our wedding photos that appeared. It was a high-resolution scan of the hotel receipt, then a text message, then another, then the photos from the pie Sarah and Mark, locked in an embrace, their faces clear as day for everyone to see. Gasps rippled through the room. The air turned to ice. Sarah's face went white. She let go of my arm as if it were on fire. Mark looked like a cornered animal. "But the story gets darker," I said, my voice echoing in the dead silence. I played a recording. Mark's voice filled the room, coaching her. "Tears, Sarah. Lots of tears." Then her voice giggling. "Don't worry. I'll be the perfect grieving widow." The final image on the screen was the letter. Her goodbye letter to our children. I read the most damning line aloud. "Your father was a troubled man. And in the end, his demons won." I let the words hang in the air. I turned to her. Her mask of arrogance was shattered, replaced by pure, primal terror. Our friends and family stared at her, their faces a mixture of shock and disgust. Her parents looked like they'd seen a ghost. It was over. The social execution was complete. The next morning, Ms. Albright filed for divorce, citing adultery and conspiracy, and filed a restraining order. The evidence was so overwhelming, so irrefutable, that Sarah's lawyer dropped her. She lost everything: the house custody of the kids, her reputation. Mark's company was ruined in the fallout. The last I heard, he was facing fraud charges related to their financial schemes. I never saw her again after that night. Sometimes, late at night, I think about that letter, the cold, calculated cruelty it took to write it. The person I loved was a phantom. The real woman was a monster hiding in plain sight. The silence in the house is heavy now, but it's a clean silence. My revenge wasn't loud or explosive. It was the quiet, systematic dismantling of a life built on lies. The end.